Notnerd Podcast, Episode 209, Band, in Catalina.
Welcome to the Notnerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Tons of stuff to talk about, so let's get right into it. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
She's real fine, my 209. Episode 209. I couldn't resist.
It's been like 100 episodes since you've done a catchy song-related intro.
Pun type thing,
yes.
yeah. So, yes, episode 209. We've got a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah, I think I realized what happened as I was going through all my sources and all the articles I typically go through. I found a ton of stuff, but as we get into mid-December, I think everybody's trying to get everything out so that they can take the next 3 weeks off. So I am saving some of the stories for future weeks because I have a feeling next week might be a little slow. Dave, first number I wanted to give you that people will probably be hearing a lot this week, $52,599. Dave, what would you pay? What would you guess that you would have to pay that for?
That's around double kind of what a 3-year-old vehicle that I purchase costs. So two Pathfinders?
Exactly. Or one maxed out brand new Apple Mac Pro.
Oh boy. Man, I need one of those.
Yeah, so they just released it this morning. We're recording Tuesday morning. They made it available for sale. I was able to watch a couple of videos. MKBHD did his initial impressions. He's been using it actually for 2 weeks. The 52.6K version.
Yeah.
I mean, it is all that and a bag of chips, but it is for 0.00001% of the population. The Mac Pro in general is for I heard some conversations this week as it was announced it would be coming out. And the conversation kind of was nobody or most people don't need this computer. If you have the money and you think it looks cool and the holistic cost makes sense for, at your law office to have the Mac Pro on your desk, that's going to give you the status you want. Go for it. But really, unless you're doing 4K video or very high-end type stuff, I mean, for $53,000, the consensus would probably be this is an amazingly priced supercomputer.
Yes, it is a very affordable supercomputer. And I'm trying to think what I would use it for. And if you are the type of person who's like, what would I do with that? It's not for you.
Yeah.
If you're the type of person who goes, why is the stand for the Pro monitor $1,000? Then that's not for you.
Yeah.
The people who it's for completely understand.
Yeah. And that is just the computer that is with the wheels, and then it's another $5,000 for the monitor. So MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee, he's a huge YouTuber, has he's on the quest for like 100 million subscribers. That's or something ridiculous. Insane on YouTube. But he was talking about in some of the testing he's done with the MacBook Pro, the one I have, the new 16-inch, this one video edit, 4K, multiple streams, it was like 20 minutes to export. With his iMac Pro, which is maxed out, it was like 11 minutes. With the Mac Pro, it was 4 minutes.
Okay, wow.
And that was 4K, and he does a lot of 8K ProRes. I think that was a 4K video, but for him to save 16 minutes every time he exports a video, that adds up pretty quick for him because he makes a lot of money off making videos. Yeah, so if you're doing that kind of thing.
Yep. His time is worth it, especially when his audience is that big.
Yeah.
If he can crank out more videos that have ad sponsors in them, he could pay for that computer by turning out one more video a week. He could pay for it probably in a month.
And being able to do more things when you're editing the videos. My friend Wes, who was using a old iMac at work to make videos, there was a lot of things he just wasn't willing to do because it would take too long or crash his computer. He got his new iMac. His video production's gone way up because he can use all these features that before he was just being held back by. But anyways, $52,599.
Wow, that's great. I'm going to get that on my license plate. So this computer is for the pros of pros.
Yeah.
They also make an iMac Pro, which is a very capable production machine that I would say for probably for 90% of all professionals, it is more than enough. And then for the consumer class, they make a very capable standard iMac that can do more than you would ever need. I have this is like a 4-year-old iMac sitting on my desk, and it's incredible. It does everything I need to do. The iMac line and Pro line of computers from Apple these days are fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. And I will just give you some specs just to show you how ridiculous this machine is.
Okay.
The processor is a 28-core Intel Xeon processor. My top-of-the-line MacBook Pro is an 8-core, so it's massive. It's got 1.5 terabytes of RAM memory, which is more storage than 99%
That's
of
bigger than the hard
have.
drive on my computer.
Yes. Three video cards with 2 of them have 32 gigs of RAM, and then there's this Afterburner card, which is this ridiculous add-on, 4 terabytes of SSD storage, and then the stainless steel frame with wheels. But yeah, craziness. But that is on sale now, so if you are a person that makes sense for, go ahead and buy it. Todd, for converting those VHS videos, I think this is the machine you need to go for.
It'd work faster. Now, can I go down to the Apple Store today and take a look at this?
I was going to text my friend that works there to see if they have one. I don't know. I would guess they're probably putting them out today, if not now, soon. But they are cool-looking machines.
I just want an empty enclosure that I can put like an iMac inside of it.
Yes. Some more follow-up. We've talked several times about the Clips app, Apple's own Clips app, which is kind of making social media videos. It's oft forgotten. People just don't seem to ever talk about it or use it. I think it's, for the tech people that we listen to, it's maybe a little simple for what they're looking to do for video. But it's a very capable, fun app, and they have added Memoji and Animoji support, plus more in there. So if you have an iPhone and an iPad, go get the Clips app and just play around with it a little bit and see if you can have some fun there. Make some fun little Christmas videos.
I'm going to make some Memojis that look nothing like me, and then do a voice with the Memoji, and like maybe make fun of somebody or imitate somebody.
Make fun of people.
Be
a bully. Go get the Clips app and be a bully.
That's the bottom line.
Yes. Cyber Monday spending, which I kind of thought Cyber Monday was over, because how it started was people had to wait to get back to work to have a good internet connection way back in the day to be able to shop online. But $9.4 billion of online sales, just online sales. It is crazy. Huge growth year over year. I got a ton of Cyber Monday emails. I'm still getting emails that, 1 day left on our Cyber Monday sale. And
Cyber Monday's still going.
Yeah, I guess a week later, as we've said, it's become the November-December sale season.
And I think Cyber Monday will continue until it's too late to ship for Christmas.
Yes.
So like the 23rd or something.
Yes,
the 22nd.
I think they're saying for standard mail, it's like the 16th to guarantee, and then it's like the 20th if you want priority mail. Just to let you know a
little. Who uses the mail?
Yeah.
I mean.
Yes. The top items sold on the day included Frozen 2 toys, LOL surprise dolls, Nerf products, Madden 20, Nintendo Switch, Jedi Fallen Order.
Fallen Order.
Oh, Jimmy Fallon. I thought it was a crossover with Jimmy Fallon. Fallen Order, Samsung TVs, Fire TV, AirPods, and air fryers.
Air fryers?
Everybody buys the air fryers.
What's an air fryer?
Oh, they're amazing, Dave. I'll have to make that my pick of the week next week and talk about air fryers.
Okay.
Other follow-up. We talk often about Facebook and their woes. Well, their employees were saying, hey, how am I supposed to go to the holidays at my family's house? And when people ask tough questions, how should I answer them? Well, Facebook created the Liam bot for its own employees. If there are tough questions that come up around the holidays, they can ask this chat bot and get answers of how they should answer it.
Now, Apple created an actual robot called Liam that destroys computers and rips things apart.
There must
recycling.
be some market research that Liam is the ultimate robot or bot name.
So let me get this straight. So you're at a family get-together and someone says, is it true that Facebook steals all the information and sells it to the Chinese government? And so you type that into the bot and the response will be...
Facebook consults with experts on the matter.
Okay.
Oh, that probably wouldn't be a good answer. It has hired more moderators to police its content.
Okay, that'd be a good answer. Yeah.
It is working on AI to spot hate speech. It seems like they could have just sent out an email with some of these things, but they like bots. So if you work for Facebook, and if you do work for Facebook, we would love to hear from you.
Oh, boy.
And let's get you on the podcast, because I'm sure you could use the Liam bot to answer all of Dave's
I think it's just Mark
questions.
Zuckerberg sitting at a terminal and he's just typing it because he's kind of a robot himself.
Yeah, this is true. YouTube TV, my TV service that I use is getting rid of forced ads for cloud DVR recordings. Now, even if you have Comcast, you might have experienced this. You go on the on-demand and you watch, something that you've recorded that was a while ago, and YouTube TV kind of had some weird stipulations for when this would occur, but you'd get like the 5 ads, or Hulu, those forced ads. Well, YouTube TV is getting rid of that for your DVR recordings, so you don't have to sit through the ads. You can fast forward through them like a human being.
Well, it's interesting that people don't like paying for a service and then have to watch advertising on top of it. What a concept. Isn't that great?
Yes. At one point, that's how it worked. And speaking of streaming services, Dave, your recent Pick of the Week, Plex, has launched its own ad-supported streaming service.
Of course. Something I take and love, and they have to bastardize it and put all this advertising
they just
in it.
added on top a channel much like Pluto TV, a previous pick of mine, or Roku has their own channel. So it's kind of the new thing where you create have content, not necessarily stuff they've created, and then you watch ads to be able to use it. So if you are not wanting to pay for additional content, you can find some content like the Pluto. I'll just throw that on and find something random to watch and get some random commercials, but you get what you pay for.
Well, I don't really watch random stuff. I have highly thought about and articulated exactly what I want to watch at a given time, because there's so much content out there that I want to see it all.
Yes.
And so I generally don't have just random stuff playing. I hunt what I want to search for, and then I watch it. Now, Hulu, I've kind of made a deal with the devil there, where I pay them their couple bucks a month, and I get the ad-supported stuff, because I'm too cheap to pay like the expensive deal to be kind of ad-free.
Yes.
Don't they still have some ads?
I think you might still get some.
Yeah.
So it's...
Man, advertising it's good and bad.
Yeah.
It allows us to have things, but it's also terrible.
Yeah. Yes, most of the advertising is not done well. But you know what's always done well? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Well, thank you for saying so. I'm not sure I agree with you. But today's tip comes from Notnerd superfan, avid listener, superhero Tyler. This tip has to deal with the keyboard functionality on an iPad. And so many people own iPads. I would say that probably most of our listeners have an iPad.
Yeah, somewhere, some version.
Yeah, an old one or a new one, whatever, giving it to your kid or whatever. But on the iPad is a keyboard. And as a keyboard, it does what it's supposed to do. You type a letter, and the letter goes in the thing. Now, there are some variations here that might make your keyboard iPad experience much better. Now, if you enter into a text field, this keyboard will pop up. And if you're in landscape mode, it takes up pretty much half of your screen.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, this is so big. And if you do it the portrait mode, it kind of shrinks down to about a third of the screen or a quarter of the screen. And with the new iPad OS, you would expect Apple to have some newer features that have been integrated into this. And famously for the iPhone, they've added the swipe feature, which has been available on Android devices forever. And if you install some special keyboards, you can get it on iOS, but I don't think anybody ever does that. So Apple finally, after years and years and years, has baked this in. But guess what? It's not available on the iPad keyboard.
Full size.
Or is it? If you do a couple little finger gymnastics, you can enable the swipe keyboard, but there are some caveats. So in the generalized large keyboard, swiping is not available.
The default
Keyboard, correct. And so what you have to do is use your old photo technique to pinch and zoom. That's the gesture that you want to do. And you want to pinch in the keyboard to shrink it. So just open up your keyboard on your iPad and put one finger on one side, one finger on the other side, and pinch them together. And voila, you've got a small floating keyboard that you can move around the screen wherever you want by grabbing the little handle at the bottom. So I'm left-handed, and so in my example, I'm going to put the keyboard on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to open up a little window, and as you can see, I can use the swipe gesture to enter text.
Until you brought this up, I always forget about it on the phone. It is such for the swipe for one-hand typing on an iPad. You can see more of the screen. You can do the swipe with one finger. On your phone, if you're holding it in one hand and trying to swipe, instead of picking up and picking down and trying to negotiate that clumsiness, just holding down, spelling out the word, works most of the time. I need to use it more.
Nice caveat. It works most of the time. So now that I've got my tiny keyboard that I can move around my giant iPad screen and I can swipe on, how do I get it back to its regular size? Maybe I am like, this is not working for me. Well, you just do the opposite gesture. You have two fingers together and you spread them apart, and then again, it pops out into the regular keyboard. It docks down at the bottom of the screen. Now, here's a bonus Dave's pro tip.
Whoa.
If you have your keyboard up and you put one thumb on one side and a thumb on the other side and you spread them apart, and it's hard to do, your keyboard will actually split in half.
Nice.
And so now you've got part of the keyboard on the left side, part of the keyboard on the right side, and this isn't swipe enabled, but you can more comfortably type.
For two-finger typing as opposed to traditional touch typing or multi-finger typing.
This would be two-thumb typing in this case if you're holding your iPad. And then, of course, to get the keyboard to go back together, you kind of press them together and they snap back together. So it's a little bit interesting to figure out exactly what you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to press. But once you get used to it, it works quite well. And I have to admit, I do not use, until Tyler brought it up, just like you, it's like, I kind of knew about it, but I never really think about it. And then the swipe feature on the small keyboard, I'm having trouble remembering if I even knew about that feature.
Yeah.
So if you're using something every day and you are thinking, this could be so much better, do a little research. Perhaps there are features that have been implemented that you're not even aware of. And in the case of the iPad keyboard, that's what I found out to be true. So enjoy that. Go to your holiday parties, pull out your iPad, and amaze and astound your friends.
Party tricks. I like it. Well, let's move on to our takes of the week. This one, I'm surprised and unsurprised at the same time. Craigslist has finally gotten an official mobile app. Now, Craigslist is famously very archaic in its layout and features, but they have released an official iOS and Android app. I do not use Craigslist. It is just not on my radar for anything. I like to buy things new for the most part, or my wife does a lot of stuff.
Says the one percenter sitting across the desk from me.
Says the person who takes holistic cost into consideration, so I don't drive all the way across town to find something that is broken. My wife does a lot of the Facebook Marketplace and group stuff, but I just don't use Craigslist a lot. But hey, if you do, there's an app now.
Well, and I've been using for years. I do use Craigslist occasionally, a few times a year. C+ for Craigslist. It's the letter C, Plus for Craigslist. I've used this for years. I think it was $3 or $5. It works just as you would expect. But the new Craigslist app works in much the same way, and it's free to its users. And so I will probably move over to using the Craigslist app because there's really no reason not to.
Reddit released some numbers this week. I don't remember them releasing a lot of numbers. I might have just missed them in the past. We've talked about Reddit several times in the podcast, mentioned it. We find stuff there. Its user base grew 30% this year to reach 430 million monthly active users.
Wow.
And I just wanted to bring it up. Oh, and that its users also contributed 199 million posts, 1.7 billion with a B comments, and 32 billion with a B upvotes.
About 20 of those comments were mine.
Wow, look at you. And I just wanted to bring it up to remind people it's kind of the modern version of, forums or the Yahoo groups. I think we brought it up then.
Dig used to be one of these type of things where it's basically article sharing that you can comment on. But a forum is basically what it is. And Reddit is organized in different, quote, channels about any topic imaginable.
Yes.
And I said any topic imaginable, and I mean it.
It is true. There are just insane ones. It mentions in here wedding-focused communities grew with weddings under 10,000 and bridezillas up by 852%, family stuff. So it used to be very nerd focused, where it was, the Star Wars, but there are like many of the different web services that I use in my work. They have subreddits where there's great discussion. You can have these amazing communities. And then there's a lot of like the funny ones and creative ones where I don't know how these people have that much time on their hands to come up with the amazing, hilarious stuff that they do.
Yeah.
My Osmo Pocket device, my little video thing, they've got a great community where people post a lot of videos and different stuff they're doing with it. So it's, as with anything, there's some dark corners of Reddit, but there is some there's inspirational stuff. Whatever you want to find, you can find it on Reddit and you can follow it. And I really like it. I probably go on there probably every other day and just kind of scroll through and just see what's going on there, find some funny stuff. I'll laugh out loud. It is rare that I'll laugh out loud while looking at my phone, but I'll find some stuff. And my current, one of the recent subreddits I found, because how they do it is your user is you/whatever your username is.
Yeah.
And then
and mine is, by the way, /DavyB, DAVYB.
Nice. And I believe mine is netback, as it is with most other things.
Yeah.
But then the subreddits are r/. And so my favorite new one is r/B's, Arby's. And they just post Arby's content. I mean, it's just, there literally is something for everyone on there.
And it brings communities together.
Yeah.
One classic example, we've all seen the meme of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers linking hands with their big muscles showing. And it's kind of symbolized two things joining. And so the Reddit communities that wouldn't really join together, that you wouldn't think normally, are /Christian and /atheism, but they can join together with dank Christian memes, which is one of my favorite ones to look at.
That is a good one. Everybody can get in on a good meme.
Yeah.
Well, go check out Reddit, find some good stuff there. Let us know if you find something worth looking at. Amazon, your beloved Alexa and Echo products, they have launched a new battery-powered Echo exclusively for India.
Yep, only in India. And some people were asking me like what the deal is with this thing. Can't you just take your Echo Dot and move it from, if you're one in the living room, put it in your bedroom or get two or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, some families may not have the infrastructure to have more than one device, and they may use it differently than you think. So like our typical American home, we've got 2 floors and it's a big house, and we've got an Echo downstairs and one upstairs and one in the kids' room and one in the pool house and all these things. Well, in India, you may just have one device and you want to move around your house or outside or whatever. You can just pick up the battery-powered Echo device and move it from room to room to continue listening to your music or to do smart home functionality. In this way, you only need one device. But I think in America, while it would be useful, I have a device that I can plug my Echo into the top of. It was a pick of the week.
Yeah, and I bought one right when you picked it.
Yeah, it works exactly the same way. Guess how many times I've carried it around my house?
Nonce.
Maybe the first time.
Yes.
But it just sits there and is a speaker. It does not, even though it has a battery and I could move my Echo Dot around the house and listen to it, I don't use it that way. Yeah. So I think it's brilliant. It's what the device needs. But I find it interesting that they just have it in one country.
Yeah.
So the use case must be much different there.
Yeah, because the article was saying that they really wanted to be able to move it room to room, to which I think... You know what else moves room to room with me? My phone, which has most of the same features. And if it's a pricing issue, that would also imply that they have an internet connection in their home to be able to use the Dot. So if you've got an internet connection, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. They'll start in India, and if it's successful there, I don't see why they wouldn't bring it to other countries.
Yeah, I think they're going to wait and see how people use it.
Yeah.
And if it's successful there, then it'll probably roll out other places. If it's a dud there, then just what we've been talking about. Just buy 2 devices and put it in 2 rooms and you're done.
Or just use your phone.
Carry your phone.
Don't talk to random devices around your house.
You're such a curmudgeon.
I know. The funny thing is mine has nothing to do with security. This morning I was cooking bacon in the oven, as I do, baconmethod.com, pro tip. And I needed my 23-minute timer, which I've perfected my bacon cooking skills. And I was like, I could do it on the stove. You have to press the button 23 times. I could do it with Alexa. I'd have to talk to her. I'll just open up the timer app on my phone and swipe up to 23 minutes and start it.
Well,
but that is me. That is my curmudgeonism, is talking. I try to keep quiet because the ladies of the house were sleeping.
Well, that makes sense. If you don't want to yell across the room to tell your Echo to turn on. And maybe a pro tip on the oven, if you just press and hold, you don't have to press it 23 times. It'll go.
I don't know if mine has that feature.
Well, you should try it out.
Yes, I will. Some actual, kind of big news this week. It was no surprise to anyone. Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the founders of Google.
I thought they were in a rock band.
Yes.
Okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, not Led Zeppelin. They are retiring from Alphabet Google. They will stay on the board. They still have a lot of voting shares of stock, but they're stepping even further out of the day-to-day operations. Sundar Pichai, who has been running Google, he's now going to run Alphabet, the parent company that they have been officially in charge of, which I've heard some discussion on this week, and everybody's still kind of confused. I mean, the average person is really confused because they just think Google, but Alphabet is the parent company with all these other companies.
Right.
And even tech pundits have been discussing, really, the whole thing's kind of confusing how they have it set up. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's mostly...
Yeah, why didn't they make Google the parent company?
Yes, I think the main part is so that they can talk about Google and how much money it's making, and then when they talk about Alphabet and all these random projects they're running that aren't necessarily making money, so it kind of keeps those things separate.
Yeah.
Google's still making a lot of money, and then they can kind of diversify their product line and be able to... It probably all comes down to shareholder appeasement.
Yeah, probably.
But speaking of Google, Google Photos is adding a new chat feature.
Now, this is the first I've heard of this.
Yes.
I did not read through this before. And I'm thinking, I hope this isn't the beginning of the end for Google Photos, because I like Google Photos.
Yeah.
But whenever Google starts, quote, innovating on their products, they usually last about a year and then they kill the product.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to find a way to make money on the thing. So tell me how what's the chat's value? What do you use it for?
One thing that I have not heard anybody talk about is the fact that Apple's shared photo albums has a commenting feature. It already has some of this built in. Nobody seems to use that, which, pro tip, I would definitely recommend if the people you're trying to share photos with use Apple products, iPhones, using the iCloud shared photos albums. You can even send links to people that don't have iPhones. Again, with iOS device, it just works very easily. Now, Google, as you've mentioned before, Google Photos has shared albums. Well, the idea with this is you would easily be able to create like a chat with somebody, share a message, or share a picture. The pictures would live there. You can chat back and forth about the pictures, as opposed to two different things. Text messages, you can share photos there, but you share a lot of other things there, so it's easy to get lost in there and find your photos. Or you can share a whole album or do default sharing in Google Photos, which then it's hard to kind of keep track, or you end up with a bunch of stuff and you have to create the album. This, you could quickly go select a photo and start a chat with somebody that could kind of live in its own thing.
So it's a very stylized version of text messaging.
Yes.
But it revolves around a particular photo.
Yes.
Kind of like Instagram,
Yes.
perhaps.
Yes.
So maybe use
Yes.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Hey, it's an extra feature. It doesn't cost any money. I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's just interesting that they're doing this.
I know.
It feels
with
like
as
they're
many messaging apps as Google has had, it's like, is this the thing they're going to stick with?
Yeah.
The one thing that, I hear some talk about is that there's people that want to stay away from social media and they'd rather share their pictures in a more intimate, private
like
group.
with their family or whatever.
To which I would say, I don't know that Google's necessarily the best avenue for that. But yeah, I'll try it out. It's supposed to be rolling out this week. I have not seen it. I was looking this weekend to see if I had it in there while we were doing some family photo sharing over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how it's going and if it is actually something that sticks. I wouldn't put all my eggs in in the Google Photos messaging basket based on their history. Well, security and privacy stories. We're actually going to start with a great one this week. A better one, a positive note. 80% of Android apps now encrypt network traffic by default.
Okay.
So this is up huge. I'm forgetting what. So it was in 2018. Apparently, according to this chart, 0% of Android apps encrypted all traffic, and now it's up to 80%, 90% on apps that specifically target the last two versions of Android. The wider, it's 80%. So this is a good thing. Now, where this comes into play is, let's say you're at the coffee shop and you hear all these advertisements and commercials for, you need a VPN service. Well, you need a VPN service less when all the traffic is encrypted.
Yeah, so what that means is you have your Bank of America app on your Android phone, and when it connects to the Bank of America servers, the data that's being sent back and forth is encrypted and hidden from someone who might intercept that data. They could intercept it, but they wouldn't be able to read it. And so if all of your applications use encryption like that, then a VPN service, which does it for all of your traffic, is less necessary. I would still say it's worth looking into, depending on what type of stuff you do on public Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I had a discussion with somebody about that recently where, of course the VPN companies tell you always use a VPN because then they make more money.
Yeah, and they try to scare everyone.
Yes, and apps like banking, anytime you're doing any banking online, as I've said many times, nobody is more invested in protecting that connection than the banks, because banking is one industry when something happens bad, that is not good for them. So I've always said that about online banking, but this is good that Android is pushing this forward, because it, according to the chart, is something that has been severely lacking in their apps. So that is good news. On to some less good news. I had to pick this one just for the headline. Ransomware bites 400 veterinary hospitals.
Nice.
Yes.
Nicely done.
And now this is an interesting one. So there's a California company that owns more than 700 animal care facilities around the globe.
Okay.
And out of those, about 400 were attacked. And it was mostly because it started at one of them, and because they were all connected, it moved out. And it was a ransomware attack like we talk about all the time.
They need to use the Battlestar Galactica method, where you use old technology and no networking.
Yes, because I think the holistic cost breaks down on that one a little bit, but I'm not sure. But yes, and one of the problems I realized, and compared to our next story, a veterinary hospital, I've done some IT work with a local veterinary hospital, and they are not under quite the same regulations as hospitals that deal with, say, human people. There isn't the HIPAA regulations.
Yeah.
It's not quite as important to keep your pets. Some people would probably disagree with me in our pet segment, but
the pet's data secure.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's like, oh no, this dog had a sticker in its foot, and this one had cancer. Like, does anybody care?
Yes,
that's unless you're the pet owner.
Yes, that's true. So the next story, ransomware at Colorado IT provider affects 100+ dental offices. Now, this is a story, I think we brought it up before, that a lot of these attackers are going after what are called MSPs, managed service.
I was going to say suggested retail price, but that's something else.
Manufacturer suggested price. MSP, managed service provider, which is an IT provider. It's kind of like a outsourced IT department. It's some of what I do with Consistent Tech, but this one was specifically for dental offices. So they have their office that is connected to these 100+ dental offices. They have remote connections. They have all these monitoring tools. So for an attacker, the best, easiest way for them is to go straight for the MSP, because if they can break into the MSP, then they have access to all these people they have access to. So that one does not sound good. And a lot of MSPs, some of the Facebook groups I'm in, there's a lot of discussion of how they can protect themselves, because as you can imagine, that could get real ugly real quick if all of your clients suddenly become ransomware clients but it's your fault. So
right.
you cannot charge them for it.
Yes.
But that ransomware is not going anywhere. So as we always say, the best protection of your data is backup, and one backup is none backup. People, just pause the podcast, pull your car over, open your laptop up, tether it to your phone, go to consistentdeck.com, find the Backblaze link for our referral code, sign up for Backblaze. I'm going to trademark that. I still need to register that domain. Backblaze.com. Get a backup set up on your computer. Mm-hmm. It's not if, it is when you will lose your data. I deal with this probably every other week. I have somebody call and they have lost data. We talked about it with photos last week. Mm-hmm. This happens all the time. I have hard drives fail, but I use Backblaze so I can just download everything again and I'm good. Please.
It's so simple. Follow those 27 steps on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And you too can enjoy.
You'll be set. Or wait till you get home and do it.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Or give the gift of Backblaze for Christmas to somebody.
Yeah.
Get them backed up so they have that peace of mind. Okay, well, our bonus odd take of the week. This is one that you found, and this is a huge range of products. And I will say that it is a horribly formatted article because it is a lot of scrolling. But this is from Popular Science, popsci.com.
You've heard of those guys.
The 100 greatest innovations of 2019.
And there were that many innovations in 1 year?
Yes, in the 32nd annual Best of What's New Awards. Now, how they have it separated out is into several categories. So there's health categories, talking about, and a lot of those are medications, Zolresso, and random things in there, Vaxelis.
Everyone's happy that Spravato by Janssen Pharmaceuticals exists now. It's a new antidepressant. Finally.
Yes.
We needed more.
Yeah. So obviously I wouldn't have led with the medical section because that one's a lot of big words.
Yeah.
But they do go on to talk to some tech products that we've discussed over the year.
Yeah. Guess what's in here? Apple's Pro Display XDR.
Yes.
The giant
which
$5,000.
we didn't really talk about with the Mac Pro, and it is an amazing display. People go, oh, that's so expensive. It's expensive to what you're used to buying the $80, $79 monitor at Costco that's always on display there.
Yeah.
For people that do pro video work to have this level of display, they would pay $40,000 to $50,000.
Yeah, it is a bargain.
It's a bargain on that end. But yeah, there's a ton of stuff in this. It's a really fun look through just to see in 1 year. My Osmo Pocket by DJI is on the list.
And right under that, a device that I really would like to have, the Oculus Quest.
Yes.
Even though it's by Facebook, I still want it.
Yeah. Fresco by Adobe, which I hadn't even heard of.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. So tech gadgets galore.
Yes.
Medical
auto stuff, a bunch of new cars in there. So it is
home automation.
It is a fun look through just to see, just in 1 year, some of the really influential things that have come out. The heated razor by Gillette Labs.
How did I live without that before?
I know. That once a month that I shave. I've been so cold. But yeah, so that link will be in our show notes and on the website. You can check that out. Have a fun. And actually, I almost didn't link to it because one of the things they put under health is that dang mirror.co.
Yes,
device.
I saw that in there too. The thing that you don't like, but there are many other things in here that you do like.
Yes, yeah. So it is an innovation in 2019. I just don't think it's practical for most people. But you know what is practical for all people? Our picks of the week.
So not to step on Todd's toes from last week, who talked about his video inputter device, VGA, something, I don't know what it was.
Yes.
The
VidBox.
I couldn't keep my mouth shut last week, or I did. It was hard to because I had previously purchased a device very similar.
Yes.
And I flip-flopped on whether I needed this. But
what?
I know. So I have this.
Did you do a bunch of research?
I did. I have a conundrum. I have a very small home office.
Yes.
And we're talking closet size.
Partial closet size.
Because my home office is in one half of a walk-in closet.
Yes.
Space is very limited. And I have a giant 27-inch iMac in there, which I adore.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great. But I also want to start playing video games in my office because my TV downstairs is not always available to me, especially with the advent of Disney+. So I decided to buy this little device so that I could watch other content on my giant displays monitor. Now, you can go to Netflix.com or Hulu on your computer and watch video, but I can't play my Xbox or my Wii U or my Nintendo Switch on my iMac. There's no way to do that just out of the box. So the device I'm talking about is Elgato's CamLink 4K. They make a bunch of video input capture devices for video games.
And they have for a long time. They made a bunch of Mac products, and they've done stuff for a long time in this space, and they keep innovating past the VidBox technology.
So why did I get the CamLink versus the game capture box? Well, me trying to think long term, this device basically will turn any video camera into a webcam for your computer. So if you want to do live streaming, let's say you're filming a concert or a church service or something like that, you hook your HDMI compatible camcorder to this device, and then there's some great software available to publish that feed to the website. Now, I'm using it kind of in a hacky way. I hook my Nintendo Switch up to it, I open up the software, and boom, my Nintendo Switch is on my Mac. I will say, for those of you interested in this, there's very slight latency, and that means a delay, just very slight. We're talking just a few frames. For most games, like let's say The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, not a problem. It works perfectly. For pinball games, where you have to be very precise on those paddles,
timing is key.
The timing is off a little bit, and I caught myself pressing the button before I would normally press the button. Sometimes racing games can be very precise. It may not be the greatest for those, but I would say for 90% of all the games I play, it's completely fine. And if I wanted to, I could record my gameplay footage, or I could live stream it to Twitch or one of the other video gaming services, and I may actually create a channel and experiment with that. So we can talk about that more in the future.
Fun. We should do my daughter likes watching games on YouTube, and there was some ones we were watching last night that was literally, they were just doing a screen capture on their phone and putting it on YouTube, and they have thousands and thousands of views on this, and it, like, you would see the home screen, then they would press the game and start playing, and I'm like, oh, they're putting no effort into this.
So if I ever want to do a video podcast in the future, or a YouTube channel, I guess is what we would call those, about video games, this would be instrumental in capturing that footage so that I could put it on the screen. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. Now, what do these things cost? On a good day, you can find them for around $100, but normally they cost $129. And you can find them at Best Buy, on Amazon, and Elgato's website, virtually anywhere that sells electronics. But it's the CamLink 4K is the one that I got.
Yes, and Dave, I distracted you heavily during that by holding up out of my backpack. What would this be? The Elgato CamLink 4K that I purchased on, it was a Black Friday deal.
Oh man, did I overpay?
Well, let me see what I paid. It was discounted to... Yeah, it was $100 down from a higher price. I'll look at the Camel real quick just to see.
And if I would have been more patient, I could have got it for less, but I wanted it, and I had some Best Buy credit, and that's what it costs at Best Buy.
Yeah, so it's $129.99 right now on Amazon, and it is... it was discounted to $99.99. So I bought it for the same purposes as you. So I definitely approve of your pick. My pick of the week is also coming out of my backpack.
As he rifles through here. Where'd that rubber chicken come from? What? What is this?
I do have a lot of things in here. Okay, my pick of the week this week is something... Now, I have just moved to a USB-C world on my MacBook Pro 2006 or 16-inch, the 2019, late 2019 model. And there is a long discussion, and this, I believe it's kind of a techno myth of Dongle Town. Oh, if you go to this new Mac, you're going to just have to have all these dongles hanging off your computer all the time. I got in a discussion with somebody on Facebook about it recently. They were like, oh, I have to have so many dongles. And I said, what? I'm curious what dongles you need. And he said, well, I've got two monitors, so when I'm at my desk, I have to plug something in. To which I asked, so before you had this computer, you had to plug something in. And that's what I have really found is when I'm recording the podcast, I plug something in. But for the most part, we aren't spending a lot of time with stuff plugged, with Wi-Fi connections and AirDrop. We're not having to plug stuff in a lot. But related to that, one of the things that people complain about on the newer Macs is the lack of a MagSafe connection. This is the power connector that they used to use where it would just break away because it was just magnets holding it in place.
Right. And it would prevent someone tripping over your cable, yanking your laptop off the table onto the floor, breaking it, or breaking the connector inside of your laptop, which the power goes into. So the MagSafe was a very great invention, and I was sad to see it go as well.
Yes. And I had heard of this product, and so I went on Amazon just to check, and it is the Griffin, which is a long-standing Mac accessory company for
25 years.
Yeah, 25 years. It's the BreakSafe Breakaway Power Cable. So this is a USB-C to USB-C cable, and on one end, there is a USB-C port that plugs into your computer, and then they have a little magnet interface.
Okay.
Now, I don't think that I need this, but I went and looked, and Dave, what would you pay?
That thing was probably, I'm going to say $12.99.
It was $12.99.
What?
Yes, you were spot on. And
Nice.
so it was the price of getting a decent USB-C cable, and I figured, you know what, there are times when I'm DJing or when I'm out and about, or sometimes when I'm working at home in my chair, that it would make sense to have this cable just for a little added protection. So I bought one. It's a very nice, well-built cable. It's got a little Velcro tie on there, which I like that a lot of people are doing that now.
Yeah, for cable management.
Yeah, so it just will connect into your power supply and then connect into your computer and give you a little bit of protection there, which I really like. And so I will be using that. The Griffin BreakSafe Breakaway Power Cable. Nice little product there.
That is cool.
Yes, our Ramazon pick of the week this week. We love that you guys shop through our affiliate links. It helps support the website. It helps us keeps the wind in the sails of this pirate ship that we're running.
Yes.
As Adam Carolla always says, you just use our links. You don't pay anything extra, and we get a little kickback. So we like to go look at the anonymous reports in there and see what you guys are buying. So the product this week is the CRC 05103 QD Electronic Cleaner 11 weight ounce. Dave, was this you?
This was not me. What is this thing?
Now, this is a product that has perfect 5-star review with 589 ratings.
Okay, I was going to say with 3 ratings?
No, this, and I believe I might have heard of this before on the Cool Tools site and in that book that I mentioned. What this is a cleaner that is safe for sensitive electronics. So I thought maybe you had purchased it to, clean out a computer that needed something.
Right.
It is a quick drying, plastic safe, helps prevent contact failure. So if you have a bad connection, this is a spray that helps, like think of WD-40.
Right.
But more specific for sensitive electronics.
So it must contain a liquid that is not conductive in any way.
Yes.
Because you wouldn't want a conductive material bridging the gap between electronic components because things can short out or whatever.
Yes. And a quite curious note in the top bullet point discussion, that's prime real estate for an Amazon description.
Yeah.
The fourth one, this item is not for sale in Catalina Island. What?
What?
They must have some weird local regulation?
Isn't Catalina Island part of California?
Yeah, I thought so. It's the latest Mac OS. So it is a petroleum distillate, alcohol-based precision cleaner designed as an alternative to CFC-based cleaners. Clean those sockets, plugs, relay switches, and more with this CRC Quick Dry electronic cleaner.
An electrician might use this, I think.
Yes.
Or someone who's a technician.
Automotive is what the picture kind of looks at. Dave, I'll show you.
Okay.
So it's, kind of think again, WD-40, same kind of thing.
I'm thinking for under the hood, all the electronic components, you unplug a cable, you spray it in the end of there to knock off all the garbage and plug it back in. Hey, your short's gone all of a sudden.
Yes. So Dave, for this 11-ounce canister, what would you pay?
I think this is an $8.99 product.
I am shocked. It is $4.97 with Prime.
Very inexpensive.
Yes, I think I'm going to, as we speak, I'm going to buy a can of this because I know my vehicle is 2004. I could definitely probably use some of this on some of those connections.
Now, you probably just don't. Now, I have a vision of you just opening the hood and then spraying it all over. You probably have to be a little more direct.
Concise.
Yeah.
Look at some of those connections that look extra dirty. But yeah, so that is our pick of the week. Whoever bought that, let us know. Let us know how it worked out for you. I will have some soon as well to be able to try. With that, I think we'll wrap this episode up. We have given you enough information for 1 week. Lots of news, lots of tips this week.
Tons.
Oh, we are so helpful so that you can get out there and tech better.
I think we should talk in all of our podcasts like this. What do you think?
Let's go morning radio.
It's Pukey Pukerton puking my words right from my mouth to your ears.
Traffic and weather and traffic. It's 22 past the hour, 38 from the top of the hour. 3:22.